participants. That research, how to communicate, what thing you need to take care while communicating, what is the citation analysis, what is its importance, right? That we will see in the today's lecture, right? तर citation analysis हे काय आहे आणि आपण जे आपले रिसर्च आउटपुट आलाय किंवा आपल्याला जे रिसर्च मध्ये काय रिझल्ट मिळाले ते आपण कसे शेअर करायचे किंवा कुठे शेअर करायचे, कुठे पब्लिश करायचे, कोणत्या जर्नल मध्ये पब्लिश करायचे, राईट? या सर्व गोष्टीच्या रिलेटेड आपण माहिती आजच्या लेक्चर मध्ये घेणार आहोत. So the lecture's topic is citation analysis and communicating the research outcome. So if we see that today's talk will cover tentatively these factors or these particular points. First is the citation analysis. Then we have, just a minute, I will see if I can annotate it. Okay, and yes, annotation is there. Okay, fine. So we are going to see whether we have the citation analysis. What is the citation analysis? Then we will see what is the journal impact factor, right? So once more I will okay, fine. Just I will see where I can shift this. Okay, maybe here. Okay. So we will see what is the citation analysis, what is the journal impact factor, how to select the publication, journal publication. Now again, the impact factor is one of the thing which is important to know the quality of research outcome, right? किती क्वालिटीचा आपलं रिसर्च आउटकम आहे त्यानुसार आपल्या किंवा मग कोणत्या आपण जर्नल मध्ये आपला रिसर्च जर्नल पब्लिश केला पाहिजे. जेवढं चांगलं इम्पॅक्ट फॅक्टर तेवढं चांगलं जर्नल, राईट? बेटर द more the impact factor, better will be the journal. So we should always try to publish our results in the journals with a higher impact factor. Okay, few of you have raised the hands. So can I know why? Pallavi Adasule. Okay, can you share? You have raised the hand. Pallavi, Pongewad, Chaya, Muhammad Ali, Galewar Subhash, and Swapnil Pedalwar. Why you are raising the hands?
No, sir. Last 10 minutes we will discuss on that.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, last 10 minutes you will discuss about that queries. Now you continue teach.
Okay. Because I saw such a hand raise, that's why. Okay. Anyway, so we will see how to select the publication menu or which journal we should choose, and then we will see what are the things we need to take care while preparing the manuscript. While preparing the manuscript to publish a research paper or research article. That we will see, right, in the today's talk. During this talk, I will cover these points. Now, okay. So citation analysis is a. Just see why it is not working properly. Okay, citation analysis is a. Do you see the arrow where I am? Do you see my arrow? Anyway, so you must be seeing. So citation analysis is a measure of impact factor or the impact of your research, right? It may measure the impact of a scientist, researcher, or it may measure the impact of a journal or impact of particular research paper. All these things can be okay. Ajay Kamble is annotating the thing. So please turn off your annotation. Okay. Ajay, please remove all these annotations.
अजय कांबळे आपण स्क्रीनवर रेष ओढलेली आहे ती एरेज करावी. ओके, थँक्यू.
Okay. So measuring the impact factor. So we can measure the impact of all these things. Now, what is the citation analysis? Is the process whereby the impact or a quality of an article is assessed by counting number of times the author mentioned it in their work. Means it is म्हणजे जेवढ्या वेळा बाकीच्या ऑथर्सनी तुमच्या रिसर्च आर्टिकलचा उल्लेख केलेला असेल that word. Process. It counts the number of times an article is cited by other works to measure the impact of publication or author, right? So that impact done or by the publication or author will be measured using this particular. Now, again, if you see, there are the multiple citation analysis tool. There is not a single citation analysis tool that collect all the publication and their cited references, right? So we require to have multiple databases to find all possible cited references for a true or thorough analysis, right? So म्हणजे कोणताही एक असं सिंगल सायटेशन अनालिसिस सॉफ्टवेअर किंवा टूल सध्या नाही आहे की जे ऑल द पब्लिकेशन आणि ऑल द पब्लिकेशन म्हणजे ऑल जर्नल कव्हर नाही करत. म्हणजे डिपेंडिंग ऑन द टाइप ऑफ रिसर्च or the area of research, there are the several different citation analysis tools are available, right? So it may depend on the type of area, quality of research article, quality of research journal. Depending on that, they will decide which journals will be covered in which citation analysis, right? And therefore, usually we need to go for multiple citation analysis tool in order to measure such an impact of the particular journal, particular paper, or particular author. And therefore, usually more than one citation analysis tool is always recommended. You just don't go with the one tool, but you can use the multiple analysis tool. So mainly what tools we have out here is we have here I will show you. Okay, we have the Web of Science, which is one of the citation analysis tools, Scopus, which is the other citation analysis tool, and the Google Scholar. These are the all citation analysis tool we have available. There are some more citation analysis tools are also there. For example, Indian Citation Index, right? That is also there. That can also be used to do the analysis, citation analysis. Okay. Now, if you see these tools, out of that Web of Science, this is a tool. It provides the citation count for the article indexed within it. Means whatever the journals which are covered within this Web of Science, covered by Web of Science, the article published in these particular journals, है ना? त्या पर्टिक्युलर जर्नल मध्ये जे पेपर पब्लिश झालेले आहेत त्या रिलेटेड सायटेशन काउंट हे या वेब ऑफ सायन्स न होईल, राइट? इट प्रोवाइड्स सायटेशन काउंट फॉर द आर्टिकल इंडेक्स्ड विदिन इट, and above 10,000 journals are indexed in a Web of Science, right? About 10,000 journals are indexed in a Web of Science. Just a minute. Okay. So more than 10,000 journals are published, and that belongs to all of these disciplines. Some journals are from the arts disciplines, some are from the humanities, some are from the sciences, and some are from the social sciences. So all these journals, 10,000 journals, whatever the article published in this 10,000 journal, will be usually analyzed for the citation counts. Means we will see how many times this article is particularly cited by other authors in their papers, right? That we will see. So here the count is 10,000. And again, if you see the Web of Science, it mainly deals with the sciences, right? It also has certain journals of arts, humanities, and social sciences, but mainly of the sciences. Then, if you see the Scopus, other citation analysis tool is a Scopus. So it provides count. Now again, it provides the count from the beginning of the journal, whenever it has begun since then. If you see the Scopus, it is relatively newer particular citation analysis tool, right, compared to the Web of Science, and that provides counts for article indexed within the Web of Science. So how many articles are indexed? The 15,000 journals are indexed in the Scopus, and over 4,000 international publishers, various publishers from different publishers, they are indexing the journals, right? So for example, publisher म्हणजे काय? Nirali Prakashan, Manali Prakashan. Similar to that, we have CSIR, or we can have Marathi Sahitya Academy, or Sahitya Academy can be a publisher, or elsewhere, American Chemical Society, or it may be American Physical Society, whatever the society, they have their own journals, they all are the publishers. And such a 4,000 reputed journals and the international publishers, from them about 15,000 journals are covered in the Scopus. So all article published in this 15,000 journal will be indexed in the Scopus. There is only one limitation of a Scopus, that it only covers the article published after 1996, right? In 1996 or after 1996. Articles published before these are not counted in this particular Scopus index, right? So we have therefore about 4,000 publisher and 15,000 journals in a Scopus. Now, if we see the next is a Google Scholar. So in a Google Scholar, okay. Now Google Scholar is relatively even newer than the this particularly Web of Science or the Scopus. Recently, Google since last few years, or you can say last decade, Google started this facility of a Google Scholar, where various particularly profiles of Google users are created, and the research articles published by the particular researcher are then cited, and their citation is counted in a Google Scholar. Now, if you see the Google Scholar, it is very robust search engine, and due to that, it indexes more journals and more publication types than other databases. So this covers, typically Google Scholar covers maximum number of journals and publication types. Publication types, what are the different publication types? You know, it may be the journals, it may be the daily newspaper, journal, or monthly journal, magazines, right? All these are the different type, or the conference proceedings. all these are the different, particularly types, publication types, right? So all these are covered within the Google Scholar. Depending on the discipline and citation, cited articles, it may find more cited references than the Web of and Scopus, right? Web of Science and Scopus, because it covers more journals. Therefore, more references cited in those journals will also be counted in the Google Scholar. Therefore, Google Scholar usually gives more particular citations compared to the Web of Science and Scopus. We will see what are these citation and how the citation analysis is carried out. That we will see. Just we will see a little bit details of these things. Now, using Google Scholar citations is usually relatively easier, right? For the Web of Science and Scopus, you can do a sample or the demo, particularly analysis using the Google Web of Science and Scopus, but complete analysis is usually not possible, since those are the commercial softwares or the commercial analysis tool, and therefore for that you need to have subscription. But basic analysis can be carried out in a Web of Science, right? You will not get the complete analysis, but basic analysis will be done. Now, Google Scholar, on the other hand, is again, Google is a free to use, so you can create your own Google profile, and you can make it easy for you to create a list of a publication included in Google Scholar. So you can create your own Google profile and add your publication into that Google profile, or Google automatically will record or will see all this publication, and that will give a citation of the papers in that. So that can be done by the Google. Now, using Google Scholar citation account, you can see the citation counts, means how many times a particular author is cited, or how many times a particular research paper is cited. That we can see for a given publication or for a given particular paper author, right? So also Google Scholar have a calculate a H index. Now H is again the index developed by one of the scientists. We will see who is that later on, but he has developed the index to analyze what is the quality of a research of a particular researcher, or right. To analyze that, he has created one index that is known as EH index. We will see that later on what is the EH index. Okay. Now, if you see the Google Scholar, limiting searches to only publication by specific author name is complicated in a Google Scholar, because you cannot do the specific searches in a Google Scholar as like the Web of Science or a Scopus. There you can do specific searches of the authors, right? Now, if you see Google Scholar, it is not specified about what is included in its tools, but information is available on how Google obtain its content. Means it doesn't give from where it takes the information. For example, if you see the Web of Science and Scopus, they will see the citation. Suppose one journal is publishing, one research article is published, for example, in a journal, right? You have one research article, then you will see how many other journals, in how many other journals this particular research paper is cited. So, and all these journals are covered in that particular search engine. For example, those are covered by the Scopus, or those are covered by the Web of Science. From those journals only you will see the citations. If it is cited in other journals, for example, newspaper and all, then it will not be counted in a Web of Science or a Scopus, right? If it is counted in a public magazine or newspaper, then it will not be counted in a Web of Science, but it can be counted in a Google Scholar. So therefore, it is not specific, right? Limiting searches to the only publication by specific author name is also complicated in a Google Scholar. So all these things are relatively complicated. And again, it is complicated because the much attention is not paid since it is a free version, right? So therefore, usually, if we want to restrict the searches, that is relatively difficult in a Google Scholar. We will see what are all these things. Now, before going to see what are the Google Scholar, and okay, maybe I will show you the live demonstrations of the Google Scholar and all. Just a minute. If I will see if I can share you a screen with you. What do you see now? What do you see? Just a minute. Okay, so we will first see what is the okay. Now, okay, I will just move this for the better visibility. Okay, I will keep it here. Now, if I see the different particular search engines, right? These are the different search engines. For example, if I put the Scopus in the Google itself, we will see this particularly search engines. Okay, I will just go here. Do you see this URL and all? Okay, I will first use the mouse. So here, if I use the Google in a Google Scholar, if I put the Scopus, you will see the Scopus like this. And if you click here, you will see the website which we are seeing now. So this is the website. And now if you want to search some research articles, right? Then, or if you want to search the data related to the particular researchers, then we can click out here and see the researcher information or author information. Now, here if you see, Scopus is the world's largest abstraction citation database of a peer-reviewed research literature with over 22,000 titles and more than 5,000 international publishers. Okay, now this number of titles means number of journals and number of international publishers are now increased from what I have shown in the presentation, right? So that was the old numbers. Now it is increased to the 22,000 journal and 5,000 publishers. And we have this particular information, a little information related to the Scopus. Now, if we want to search the particular author, then we can search it. If you remember a good name, for example, of any scientist, if you want to search the this paper, then we can do here search, right? For example, if you want to see the research paper by one of the scientists we know is Paul, right? Paul, right? His initial starts from the yes. Then I will put Paul yes. And if I start search, I will see the different searches. So I will see the different people with these particular names, Paul and yes, right? So Paul was his last name. Yes is the author's name. Either it will be search like this, or I will go back and edit the search. Since there are lot many searches, right? I can put some initials also, right? So like this, we can do the searches. We can also put the name of the institutions. Is from the NCL or National Chemical Laboratory. Then if I click it like this, I will see this. Okay, I see then one name, right? First name Paul Saurav, who is then the particular person. Now he is there. So if I click on his name, what I will see, it's a citation. Now, if what I see here that this particular author has a 280 documents, means 280 research papers are published, and H index is 37. H index is 37. The index decides how many, what is the particular quality of research articles published by this author, right? And present affiliation of this particular author are given out here. Now, if I click on this particular name, right, I will see the details of this particular person, right? What work he has done or what things he has done. So I will see such type of citation analysis. So what I do see out here, I will see his name, his present address. Now he has a 280 documents. How many citations he has? These 280 documents are cited 6,026 times. Means 6,000 research articles are citing this particular his research. Means this research is cited more times. Now here, okay, who is there? Deshpande are. Please turn off your microphones. Please turn off your microphones. Okay. If I see, we will have the number of research paper. Now here, if you see the bar diagrams, these are the number of research paper published in a 1993, right? Bar diagram, right? So it shows the number of research paper published in 1 year, right? So the particular person has published 5 documents in 1993. If I see this particular year 2010, he has published 12 documents, right? So the bar chart shows the number of documents published by the author, and particularly this dotted line, this shows how many citation his research paper got in that year. So in 2000, in first year, his research paper got 57 citations, and in 2010, his research paper got 210 citations, right? So that we can understand. Now, if I go below out here and see in detail what are the citations, I will see all these papers listed here and their citation count is given. If I see, okay, since it is a free version, I cannot arrange it in the citation wise way, but we can see how many citations this recent paper got. That can be seen here. 3 times it is cited, that we can see here. If we have access to the paid thing, then we will see all the details, right? So all these things can be observed or can be seen by us regarding this particular author. Okay, so this is how we can use the Scopus as a research tool, right? So Scopus can be then used in this way. If we go to the another research tool, it is by the Cleverate publisher. We have the Web of Science. So if I again, similar to the Google search, if I put the Web of Science, I will be diverted to this particular web page, right? This particular web page, and we can then, if we go to the search, we will get this particular web page, and here we can search the different documents by the title of a research paper, right? Maybe by the title, or you can use any single word as a keyword as a title. For example, I will put a water pollution, right? And if I will search, I will get different research papers, right? And I will see these research papers if I do such a citation. If I want to see only the research paper of this particular person, then I will click on his name, and then I will see all the research paper published by this particular author, right? I will see all the research paper published by this particular author, and this research paper will be seen here, right? We will see all the research paper, and corresponding citations will be seen here, right? The metrics, how many papers he has published, right? And all the things will be observed, and his details will also be observed here. So I can see that 45 citation he has, total 112. Sorry, H index is 45. Total publication are 112. Sum of times, how many times it is cited? 8,000 times. So all these detail regarding the author can be seen. We can see the all these things. Or if we see full beam plot, we will see such a type of beam plots, various type of plots we can. Or if we want to see the view citation report, then if you click here, you will see the citation report, right? Okay, so how to analyze that? Let us see. They have just modified the website, so they are guiding us how to take information from this website. So let us see what they tell. So here, view citation metrics. You can view the citation metrics out here, right? These cards provide high-level metrics about this result. They will update automatically if you edit or filter this report, right? Then what we can see, improved graphs. Graphs we can see the graphs, and we can download the graphs as well, right? So we will see the author and his publication. In 2001, one publication is there, 0 citation. In 2002, 4 publication and 8 citation. In 2003, 2 publication, 21 citation. In 2004, author didn't publish any paper. In 2005, he has 2 papers and 38 citation. In 2008, he has the maximum 20 publication and 165 citation. And now the number of times these research paper published by him are cited are increasing, right? So in which year he has published how many paper and how many citation, that we can see out here, right? So all these things we can see. And H index is now 39. Average per item. Average each paper cited how many times? 84 times, 84.7 times. That we can see. So such type of all the detail we can see, and we can download all these graphs, right? And citations also. And here the year-wise publication and year-wise data can also be seen in a tabular form, right? So this is how we can do the analysis, right? Using the Web of Science. We can also, one thing I forgot to mention out there, that we can search the research journals also, right? So we can go and search the research journals also out here, if those are cited or not cited. So if you go to the Scopus, how to go to the search the research journal? Nowadays, if you want to publish the research articles, that should be published in a good H index journal. So or it should be cited in a Scopus, or it should be cited in a Web of Science, right? It should be there in a this database. So how to search this paper? For example, if you go to this website at this particular link, sources, if you click here, you will see how many results, means this many research journals are covered, and that many research title you will see, and their typically citation score. This is similar to the this impact factor, right? And how many percentile maximum citation is there, that is given. And then in 17 to 20, how many citations are received, and how many papers are published since 17 to 20, that will be seen here. And percent cited, right? How many percent citations are received, that we will see here. So this can be seen out here. All the data, all these research journal will be seen here, right? This is Cancer Journal of Clinicians, Nature's Review of Material, Chemical Review, Lancet, Review of Modern Physics, right? Physics, Nature Energy Journal, it has a 68 site score and all this. So, and if you want to visit this website, we can just click on this name and visit the more detail of the journal. So Nature Energy, it published since it is there in this database since 2016. Who is the publisher? Publisher is the Nature, Springer Nature. And what is the ISSN number of the journal? It is the 2058. Right. So all this information which is required is out here, and we can see whether the journal is good or not. And if I want to publish the research paper in this journal, I will go to the web page of this research journal, right? Which can be seen from here, right? If I click this image, I will be diverted to a particular web page of a journal, and I will see the journal like this, right? So, and if I see, this will be the research paper. These are the title of the research papers, right? You can see these different titles and current issue. What are the research paper published in the current issue? All will be seen here. And if you want to see what type of research one can publish here, you can go in this web here. You can go to the about the journal and add the aim and scopes, right? If you click on aim and scope, you will know what type of research can be published here, right? So, and also how many times it is published and the journal is published, right? So once publishing monthly means one issue per month is published. So this is the particularly aim, and scope means what research work is published in this. So it publishes the research related to the solar energy, wind energy, wave energy, geothermal energy, batteries, so forth and so on. So these are the different research areas. Within this, the research article within this area will be then published, right? Now, in order to see whether whatever the work you have to do can be publishable in this research journal or not, for that reason, you need to go to the research paper published in this particular journal. We can also see the what is the quality of this journal from its impact. So if you go into the about the journal and journal impact, we will see what is the typically journal impact or impact factor. And if you see here, we will get all the details related to the journal metrics, right? So if you see the 2-year impact factor, it is the 60.8, 5-year impact factor is 68.8, immediacy index 10.377, right? So all these impact factors will be then seen, right? All the particularly scores, these are the different scores again we can have. We will see those later on. So this 2-year impact factor is given by Clavriate Analytics, again by the Web of Science, right? They are publishing this journal citation report, and from this JCR report we can extract these impact factors of a journals. Nowadays, new term is there, that a immediacy index. Now this is at the average number of times an article is cited in the year it is published, right? Means how many times an article is cited in the same year, that count is there. Depending on that, how much latest research that journal is publishing, that we can understand. Means whether the research articles published in the journals are along with the current research trend, or though the research journal is publishing the olden olden type of research article, that one can also or the research area which doesn't have much scope, that we can understand from the immediacy index. Similarly, we can have eigenfactor score, that is again the score to give the analytics in the past 5 years, right? Analytics in the past 5 years. So all these analysis are there that will be given in the journal impact, right? We can also go to the, if you want to see the content type, what type of contents are available, then we can click out here and we will divert it to this page where we will see what type of research research is published in which form. We can publish the research article. Now there should be the main text, and excluding main text, it should be within the 300 words. It should display the figures and table properly. All these details are given here, and guidelines are also given here, right? We can publish the articles, right? We can publish the analysis, which can publish the reviews, perspectives. All these are type, and what are those that is given here. Please go through this. It will take a lot of time if I keep explaining each and everything here. So I will skip this and I will keep it for your homework. What are these things? What is the book, comment, matter, correspondence, news, right? Perspective, review, and article. That you please study. Please go and try to understand what are all these things. Okay. Okay, we will go back again to our presentation. Okay. Just a minute, and this is the present to the, oh sorry, I am sorry, click the wrong thing, slideshow again. Okay, so do you see this now, presentation? Yes. Okay, now we will see the how to use the citation analysis, right? And how we can use this citation analysis to find out how much impact of a particular article or author has had by showing which other author cited their work, for example, in the form of H index. Now, what is the H index? We will understand now what is this H index. H index is the index to quantify the individual scientific research output. The index was suggested in 2005 by George E. Hirsch, and from the Hirsch, H is taken and it is called as a H index. Now attempt to measure both the scientific productivity and apparent scientific impact. Productivity means how much papers he is publishing or research articles the particular person is publishing, and what is its impact on the other researchers. That will be understood. And how we can understand the productivity from the number of research paper published. How we can understand this productivity from the number of research paper published, and the impact will be understood from the how many times these research papers are cited. Right. So based on the set of researchers most cited paper and number of citations that they have received, other people's received in other people's publication is called the H index. Now H index is the index in that we count how many papers have received how many citations. Suppose if you have N papers, right? If you have H publications that have at least H citation, means for example H is a number here. For example, some author has a 10 research paper. Out of that, he received the citation to the first research paper. For example, 10 highest citation. Then he received 8. Then he received 2 research paper 8, 7, 6, 0, 0, 0, and 0. Is it 10 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what will be its citation? H index. He will have now how many papers he has citations? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 paper, and 6 paper has a citations. So how many citations they have? Minimum citation is 6. So 6 paper has minimum 6 citations. So H index of this particular author will be 6. Suppose some other author also has a 10 research paper, but for example, he has a citation like this, A7, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1. Now, how many citations this research paper has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 research paper citations. Now, all the research paper are cited. All 10 research paper are cited. But if you see, some research paper are cited very less, so their impact is less. Some research are cited very highly, they have high impact. So, what is the impact of the H index of the author then? There, how many papers are there cited more? 1, 2, 3, and 4 papers are cited. If we go to the 5th paper, it is cited less than 4 times, right? 4 papers are cited more than 4 times, and other are cited less than 4 times. So H index will be how much? 4. If you see, suppose here, instead of this paper has a 8 citation maybe, then what will be the H index? Now, here 5 papers are cited more than 5 times, so H index will be 5, right? And if all these research paper, all the research paper below has a 8 citations, then what will be the H index? It will be 8, because these two with 8 citation will not be counted. So this researcher, new researcher, will have H index 8. So see, in this way, we can calculate the H index of author, and that is used to understand the productivity and the impact of a particular researcher. Then we have another index is I-10 index. It is a immediacy index. So how many research articles are cited in a recent 10 years? That will be counted by the I-10 index, right? How many citations has at least 10 citations? How many research paper has at least 10 citation? That will be counted. That will give a I-10 index. Minimum 10 citation. How many paper do you have? That will be, depending on that, we will get I-10 index. Okay, now we'll see. Okay, I have shown the other things here. The Google Scholar profile is shown. So if you go to the Google Scholar, you can log in, make your profile, and then it will seem like this. For example, the author name, its affiliation, research area, research paper, how many times each research paper is cited, in which year this research paper is published, right? All these things, in which research paper is cited, how many times, in which year it is published, what is the research journal name, what is the volume name, what is the page numbers, that will be seen here. And here we will see the citation analysis, right? So how many citations the particular researcher received. Throughout his tenure, 583 citations are received, right? Since 2014, how many citations are there, right? What is the H index of this author? For example, this particular author has a 15 H index. Means 15 research paper of this author is cited more than 15 times. I-10 index is how much? 20. Means 20 research paper of this researcher are cited at least 10 times. Means at least those are referred at least 10 times. And here you can see the research paper published or cited per year. This graph you can also see out here, right? How many research papers are cited here. Nowadays, we also see a particular citation graph and the research paper graph, like a Scopus in the Google Map, Google Scholar also. I will just check if we can see that in the latest thing, right? If I go here and okay, mouse SCHLOR GWGL Scholar. Okay, if you see Google Scholar, you will see this, and if you click here, and give appropriate permissions, you can see the Google Scholar. If you want to see the particular profile, for example, I will see my own profile and let us see how it will look like. So I can see the profile like this, okay, and the affiliation, institution, research area, right? Number of papers published, how many times cited, published in which year, all these things will be observed here. So in this way, we can say what is the citation index, how many papers are cited, how many times, all these details will be then seen here, right? If I want to click view all, it will give all the details since beginning, how many citations we received since 2007 and what is the trend of citation. So that we can see using the Google Scholar. Okay, so okay, and again we'll go to the slideshow. Okay, excuse me. Okay, this is the citation analysis tool. We have explained the Scopus online, so I will skip this particular slide. Okay, and then this is how we can do the citation analysis tool. Okay, so I have seen this, so I will not go into the much detail. So we can have in the Web of Science author search, as well as we can have the, okay, I have explained this, so I will not go into the much detail. But this is how you can do the citation analysis. Now, how to calculate and where to go for the, what is the journal impact factor, that we will see, and then we will see other things. Okay. 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 So the rank of the journal, similar to the ranking of the researcher, there is a ranking of a journal that within a particular discipline or sub-discipline, and that is determined by the average citation count of the particular journal. Usually, since olden days, Journal Citation Report, JCR, is giving the ranking of this journal, right, by the Claret publication, publishers, right? So that they were doing, and nowadays the elsewhere through the SIMO, they are also giving the such a citation report or the ranking of the research journal, right? So that is being given to the research journal. Now, if we see the JCR is unequally published by the Claret Analytics previously, okay, by the Thomson Reuters, integrated with a Web of Science. So this journal, the JCR data is extracted from the journals which is published in the Web of Science, and the research articles, they are cited in the Web of Science journals. That only covered, and the data will be taken from that, and we will get the general journal citation report. Provided information about academic journal in the natural sciences and social science, including impact factor. All this information will be provided by this JCR report. It is based on the citation compiled from the Science Citation Index, Expanded and Social Citation Index. Now, Science Citation Index and Social Science Citation Index is separately done, right? And the particularly analysis is presented. Now, impact factor or the journal impact factor is the measure of the reflecting the yearly average number of citation to the recent research article. Means in that particular journal, how many journals are receiving the citation, average citation, that is counted. So instead of going all this detail, I will directly go to the formula so that we can understand this relatively easily. So if you see the formula to calculate the impact factor, for example, if you want to calculate the impact of the particular research journal in a Y year, then the citations of the particular research paper published in that particular journal in previous 2 years is taken for the consideration. For example, you have a particular year, then in a previous 2 years, how many research papers are published in that particular journal will be counted, and you will see how many research citations the research articles received, right? This particular journal's research article received in these 2 years. Now, this citation may also include the citation of the older research papers. Just it should be in that 2 years, right? So then what we will have, citation of that research journals citation or research paper citation in that particular year, to citation to all of the research paper published right before, that will be counted. So if you divide these total citations in the 2 years, previous 2 years, by the total number of articles published in a previous 2 years, you will get impact factors, right? So see, for example, if you want to measure the impact factor of particular journal in 2017, so what you will do, you will see the citation of the research citation received in 2016 and 2015 to that research articles published in a given journal. Suppose in 15, the journal received 41,701 article, and in 16, 32,389. And if that journal publishes 902 articles in 2015 and 80 articles in 2016, then total impact factor will be calculated by solving this expression, and it will be the 41. So this is how the impact factor is usually calculated. Number of times the journal received the citation. And now if you publish the research paper in such a journal with high impact factor, means your research article has a high value, right? Because these journals has a publishing policy. They decide which quality of research should be published in their research paper. Because if they publish a research of a lower quality, it will receive the lower number of citation in coming years. If that article receives less citations in the coming year, the quality of journal is going to decline. Therefore, publishers usually stick to their policy, and they decide, they usually take the good or reputed research articles to be published in their research journal. Another one is a SIMGO. So if you see, SIMGO journal and country ranking is publicly available both, right? So that will be, means here, not only the research paper, not only the researcher, but also the country, in which country, from which country, how many papers are published, how many times those are cited, everything is calculated by this SIMGO journal and is publicly available portal, right? So we will see demonstration of that. So that's how we can have the and usually it covers the Scopus database. Similar to the JCR, it covers Scopus database. And in earlier case, it was covering the Web of Science database, right? Journals can be compared and analyzed separately using this. Okay, entry ranking is also possible. Journals are grouped into the 27 major thematic areas and 313 specific subject categories, and also by the country. Means journal ranking by the research area is also given, and the overall general ranking is also given. So all this is done by the SIMGO. Next, okay, so how is the impact factor? What is the relationship between the impact factor and SJR, SIMGO journal rank, right? SJR. So if you see SJR, typically if some journal has a SJR, higher SJR, it will have a higher impact factor. So usually, although it is not exactly go hand to hand, somewhere it may have change in the numbering, but it has a almost similar trend, right? Because the number of times article cited and article published, that will depend on the quality of research article, and therefore a good journal will receive higher citations and that will stay at a first position. So in the bracket out here, the ranking according to SJR is given, and here the impact factor of those SJR is given. So only one place we see the shuffling where the impact factor and these are very close to one another, right? So this is how SJR is done. Now there is a little difference, and usually this difference is due to the way this SJR is calculated, right? There is a little difference in the formula. Usually for the JCR or impact factor, the 2 years data is taken. For SJR, usually 3 years data is taken. So therefore there is a little differences in the calculation, and also there are some other parameters are involved there. Therefore they have also relatively different number, but the ranking is a similar. So then the next important parameter out here is a selecting publication venue. If you carried out the research, now again I am focusing to the science research articles, but this analogy is true for the social sciences or the commerce and management or all the disciplines, right? It will be true for all the disciplines, how to go and how to search and what are the criteria. That is true for all disciplines. So how to search for the journal in which you want to publish the research article, that we will see. Just a minute. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, I think we have some time with us, so we'll see it in a bit of detail. Now, selecting a publication venue. How to select a publication venue? So find the journal in your field. Following criteria are advised to select or to search for the journal, right? First, what are the different steps we should follow to publish our research findings to a particular journal, right? And for that, what we will do, first we will examine the journal impact factor. Larger the impact factor, we know that larger the impact factor, better will be the journal. So first we will focus on the journal impact factor, then either impact factor, or you can also go for the SJR, Simco journal ranking, SJR. Anything you can follow, right? So this you will see, and then you will decide what is the quality of a particular research journal. That we want to search a research journal in which we want to publish the research article. Then what we will do, after once we are satisfied that this journal has sufficiently high impact factor, what we will do, we will visit the website, journal website, right? We have done it for one of the journals, right? Nature's journal, right? So similarly, we will visit the website of the research journal. We will see evaluate the journal quality and reputation. That will be evaluated. So how do we evaluate that quality and reputation? By looking at the research paper published in this particular journal. What is the quality of research paper? What type of data is represented? What type of analysis is done? Whether the analysis is thoroughly done? How the hypotheses are built? Whether the sufficient data is used to used for the justification or drawing the result, or not used, that will be seen, right? sufficient analysis is done or not done, sufficient amount of sample size is considered for the study or not considered. All these things will be seen in the research papers published in that particular journal. So you will go and see particularly few research articles published in that journal, and you will see, and mainly you will see the research articles similar to your research area, so that you will understand what things they have done in that journal's article, what thing we have done, where we are lacking, what data we don't have, right? How much precision they want, how much accuracy they want, that all the things, right? How they are presenting the result, right? That all the things will be considered. Reputation of the journal, what is the reputation of the journal, that will also be seen. Then check the ethical commitments of the journal, whether the journal follows the ethical guidelines, whether the journal has a proper policies, right? Code of conducts, right? Whether the journal has the various policies for the authors, reviewers, right? Whether they have the retraction policy, what happens if the particular person has done the plagiarism. So all these ethical commitments of the journal need to be checked. Check Ulrich periodical directory. A referred journal will have a referred icon. Now this directory, Ulrich periodical directory, only include a lot many research journals, and only the referred journals will have a referred particular icon in front of that. Other journal will not have the referred icon. So whenever we say the journal is has a high impact factor and it is referred, we are talking about the Ulrich periodical directory, and whether referred icon is there or not referred, that is again you need to see. Then we also can go and check the DOAJ, directory of
sir. Sorry for disturb, Pinjari sir. डिस्टर्ब करतो थोडा. बऱ्याच जणांचे मेसेज आहेत की काही जो टर्मिनॉलॉजी आहे ही फक्त मराठीतून सांगा असा मेसेज बऱ्याच जणांचा आहे चॅट बॉक्स मध्ये. यू हॅव टू यूज द लँग्वेज इन टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस.
ठीक है, ठीक.
प्लीज सर.
Okay,
thank you.
Because there are some, I think, international student and all, they usually demand the English, so I am sticking to the English. And actually what I am assuming that the people who are now going to do the PhD, right, after post graduation we have the PhD, so they should know little bit of English. That's why I am only focusing on the English. But anyway, the thing is you should understand the things, right? तुम्हाला ते कळालं पाहिजे, त्यासाठी मग आपण थोडंसं मराठीतूनही बोलू. तर ओपन ऍक्सेस जर्नल मध्ये सुद्धा तो पब्लिश आहे की नाही त्या डिरेक्टरी मध्ये, दॅट यू नीड टू सी. ऑनलाईन डिरेक्टरी दॅट इंडेक्स द ओपन ऍक्सेस अँड पीअर रिव्ह्यूड जर्नल. सो दॅट नीड टू बी चेक. म्हणजे या डिरेक्टरी मध्ये तो जर्नल आहे का ते बघायचं. देन talk to your colleagues and ask whether the reviewers provide the valuable and appropriate critical feedback to improve the paper. Now, if you see the research journal and publishing the research article, what we do when we prepare the manuscript, we submit it to the research journal, and this research journal gives this research article to review to the various reviewers, right? Reviewer 1, reviewer 2, reviewer 3, depending on the particular research journal, there may be 1 reviewer, 2 reviewer, or 3 reviewer. Most of the research journals have minimum 2 reviewers, right? And in some specialized and very standard research journal usually has a 3 reviewers. So comments from the 3 reviewers will be then received to the editorial board, and then editorial board will decide whether this research paper should be accepted or not, and if it is has to accepted, does it require any correction or not. If है ना correction काय, ह्या reviewer जे आहेत पेपर रिव्ह्यू करणारे ते त्यांच्या कमेंट या परत रिसर्च जर्नलच्या ऑफिसला किंवा एडिटरला पाठवतात आणि ते एडिटर देन टेक्स द डिसिजन, राईट. आणि जर त्यात काय मॉडिफिकेशन वगैरे, युजली मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम the reviewer suggests the modification in the research paper or some minor modification, corrections. If they are suggesting these things, then it is a good. If most of the research articles are done without reviewing and without reviewers comment, published without reviewing and reviewers comment, then usually the reviewing process of the journal is not good. है ना, म्हणजे त्या जर्नल मध्ये प्रॉपर फीडबॅक, प्रॉपर रिव्ह्यू होत नाही आणि मग अशा जर्नल मध्ये क्वालिटी ऑफ रिसर्च पेपर पब्लिश्ड वुड बी will usually be not that good. So typically these things need to be seen because these researchers provide in valuable input to improve our research paper. है ना. What is the acceptance rate of the journal? That is also very important thing, right? Acceptance rate means what? Suppose a journal is receiving, for example, in a year, journal is receiving 10,000 research publications, right? To be published. The authors are submitting 10,000 research papers to a journal. Then how many research papers are actually published? Out of this, suppose 2,000 research papers are published, and obviously then what will happen? 8,000 will be rejected, right? So how much paper that journal is published? What is the rejection or acceptance rate? So in this case, the acceptance rate is only 20%, right? So you have to decide depending on the time you have. Right, the lesser the acceptance rate means you will have less probability to publish your research article there. If you require research article to be published in a due time, for example, आपल्याला काय PhD ला काय लिमिटेशन्स आहेत तुमच्या, PhD साठी रिक्वायरमेंट काय आहे तुमच्या सध्या? Have you read your research PhD guidelines? Whatever I know that you require 2 research papers. During the PhD, you need to have at least 2 research papers. That is to be published in the indexed and UGC indexed or Scopus indexed research journal. Then you need to have presentation, 1 presentation in conference, right? I will see the poster presentation in conference, 1 oral presentation in conference. That is required according to the latest guidelines of the PhD. So you require at least 2 research paper, 1 paper presentation, 1 oral presentation. You have to attend at some conferences, workshops, right? I think at least 1 conference and 1 workshop, or 1 seminar and 1, I think, short-term courses. Like that, you have the different courses you need to do if you are going to submit your PhD thesis. If you not do these things, then your research thesis will not be submitted until you do all these things, right? जेव्हा तुम्ही ह्या सर्व गोष्टी करताल, 2 रिसर्च पेपर पब्लिश कराल, 1 रिसर्च पेपर प्रेझेंट कराल कॉन्फरन्स मध्ये, एका रिसर्च पेपरचं ओरल प्रेझेंटेशन द्याल, वर्कशॉप किंवा कॉन्फरन्स अटेंड कराल, राईट? असं जेव्हा तुम्ही कराल तेव्हाच तुम्हाला तुमचा सिनॉप्सिस हा ऍक्सेप्ट केला जाईल फायनल पीएचडीचा. म्हणजे काय, तुम्हाला टाइम बाउंड आहे तुमचा रिसर्च जे आहे, ऍटलिस्ट 2 रिसर्च पेपर तुम्हाला पब्लिश करायचे. जर तुम्ही अशी जर तुमची कंडिशन असेल आणि शेवटच्या 4थ्या वर्षी जर तुम्ही म्हटला की तुम्हाला या जर्नल मध्ये पेपर पब्लिश करायचा आहे आणि ऍक्सेप्टन्स रेट कमी आहे आणि तुमचा फक्त 1च पेपर झालेला आहे, दुसरा झाला नाही, तर तुम्ही ते करणं शक्य आहे का? तुम्ही या जर्नलला जायला पाहिजे का? तर नाही जायला पाहिजे. कारण का? here the failure rate is more. So you will go to the another journal, for example, there say 1,000 research articles are submitted Out of that, suppose 800 research articles are accepted and 200 are rejected. Now, what is the acceptance rate here? Here, the acceptance rate is 80%. Means probability of accepting the research paper is more here. So you will go to this research journal and you will publish your result in this journal, right? So that you can do. So you should keep in mind the time frame of the research paper. Again, that time frame of the research journal is also important, that we will see if we have covered here. Okay, then what else we need to see? How to evaluate the journal quality and reputation? How to do that? By looking at the peer review process. If it is peer reviewed, it's good. We will also see what is the governing body and editorial board. Governing body, for example, the Indian Accountancy Association, or maybe it may be the Indian Science Congress. They are publishing the journal, or whether the Scientific and Industrial Research, right? CSIR, a Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is publishing the research journal, or DBT is publishing the research journal, Department of Biotechnology. Depending on that, those will be the governing body. And who are the editorial board members? What is the reputation, their reputation? What is their research articles? What type of articles this editorial board member has published? Depending on that, the reputation of that journal will depend. If you have the very good research editors, they will also expect a good quality of research to be published in their journal. If the editorial board is so, they do not have good quality of research paper, they may be having the research paper in the unindexed research journal and all, then definitely that editor is going to accept such kind of research paper. So that quality or reputation may not be that high for that journal. So म्हणजे आपल्याला एडिटोरियल बोर्ड मध्ये कोण कोण मेंबर आहेत, कशा प्रकारचा त्यांचा रिसर्च आहे, हे सुद्धा माहिती असलं पाहिजे. त्याच्यावरून सुद्धा रिसर्चची क्वालिटी ठरते. नंतर ऑथर फी आहे का, पब्लिकेशन साठी फी आहे का, असेल तर किती आहे, इज इट व्हेरी हाय फी, what is the reason of taking the fee? It is just to publish the paper by taking the money without doing the thorough reviewing process and all, or the purpose of this is to generate the particularly fund for the activity of the particular publisher, right? So for example, we see the many paid journals nowadays in the India, right? Also, there are certain paid journals internationally for like a Nature review and all. They also publish the paid research articles, right? But the quality of these journals is very different compared to the some quality of the paid research. I am not saying all the paid research journals are bad. There are few research journals who really publish, although those are Indian, although those may have, or any country, from any country, although they take the fee and publish, they have a good quality also. So we have to see what are those journals. Mostly we should see that we should publish in a reputed journal, and mostly all the standard publishing agencies do not charge the fees, right? Do not charge the fees. If you are at all are interested to give, again, there is a different policies. More usually how these journals and publisher gain their expenses, म्हणजे हे पैसे कसे त्यांचे वसूल करतात पब्लिशर किंवा रिसर्च जर्नल जे आहेत, ते कसे त्यांच्या पैसे, इकॉनॉमिक्स त्यांचं हे चालतं कसं बिझनेस, तर ते काय करतात की डिफरंट रिसर्च इन्स्टिट्यूट, टीचिंग इन्स्टिट्यूट यांना ऍक्सेस देतात, पेड ऍक्सेस असतो तो. म्हणजे ते काय करतात की रिसर्च जर्नल मध्ये आर्टिकल पब्लिश करायला पैसे नाही आहेत, पण तुम्हाला जर आर्टिकल रीड करायचं असेल तर ते पैसे घेतात, रीडिंग साठी पैसे घेतात. सो दे it's free to publish, but you need to pay to read, right? So that is the one way. Or other way is what? You pay for publishing and people will read free of cost. So there are two things. Means one, the people are working in the journal office and all the things are done, so that piece should be covered. So it is either covered by the subscription of the research journal or by the paying, taking the payment from author, right? So in two ways it can be done. So if it is through the payment through the author, the advantage what? That research article are open to all, and once everybody can read, and it is also known as a open resource policy. And in that case, what it is open to all means anybody can see this research article. And what is the advantage of this policy? More people read the paper, more people will cite the research paper, so citation will increase. That is the advantage of this particular open publication policy, right? Okay, then we will see whether it is the author piece there or not, copyright is there or not, licensing information is there or not, that will be seen. Policy for the research misconduct. If somebody has misconducted the research, has published the dummy or fabricated data, what is the policy of the journal? I will show you some examples, right? And then you can understand how it is done. Or if somebody has done the plagiarism, what is the policy, right? If such a policy is there for the research paper or not, that need to be seen. Then name of a journal and websites, whether the name of the journal is very similar to the very reputed journal in the given field or it is different, that we need to see, right? Most of the time the dummy journals has a very similar research title to the reputed journals, so that few people may be confused and they may publish their research in that journal, right? So this thing happen. For example, you must have seen in the recent days, we have different chocolates, right, of the color of a Cadbury, right? Purple and shining golden color, right? Cadbury has that packing, and you must be seeing some chocolates of other company which has a similar packing and almost similar writing and all. So that means if they want to look their product like a very reputed product, but that is not the reputed product. People may often, if you demand for chocolate, you will get that chocolate and not Cadbury, right? So similar thing may happen to the researcher. So one need to carefully see the journal name and their website and see the research article. How the conflict of interest are resolved. If there are suppose 2 or more authors, and suppose in future they get some conflict of interest, then how those are resolved? Is there any policy or not? That is also important. And then what are the revenue sources and advertising? As I told you, I already discussed the revenue sources as while discussing the author piece, right? So I will not see. And publishing schedule and access means how many times this journal is publishing the research article, whether the journal is publishing once in a year, or it is publishing 2 times in a year, or it is publishing 4 times in a year, or it is publishing 12 times in a year, or it is publishing 52 times in a year. म्हणजे एका आठवड्याला एक इश्यू बाहेर येतोय जर्नलचा, की महिन्याला एक येतोय, की 2 महिन्यातून एक येतोय, हे शेड्यूल काय आहे आणि ते शेड्यूल रेग्युलर आहे का, राईट? जर 12 इश्यूज पर इयर असेल तर प्रत्येक महिन्याला एक इश्यू निघतोय का, त्या प्रत्येक इश्यू मध्ये सेम नंबर ऑफ ऑलमोस्ट सेम नंबर ऑफ पेजेस आहेत का, राईट, दॅट ऑल्सो मॅटर्स. नाहीतर काही वेळेस 50 articles are there in the research paper, and in sometimes you will see only 1 or 2 articles in that issue, or 10 articles. Is there such a discrepancies? असं आहे का? तसं नसलं पाहिजे, right? So all these things we need to see while seeing the venue of a research paper, to be to see the journal, quality of journal. Okay. Now, after doing all this, after seeing the impact factor of journal, after seeing where to publish, we seen all these things, then the main thing we need to do is how to prepare the manuscript. Manuscript म्हणजे तुमच्या ज्या जर्नलला सबमिट करण्यासाठी जो ड्राफ्ट तुम्ही बनवता तो कसा असला पाहिजे manuscript, त्याच्यासाठी आपण काय काय केलं पाहिजे किंवा काय काळजी घेतली पाहिजे. That is also an important. Okay, so what we need to do, there are certain points here which are important while looking at these points. First, we need to write clearly. So, writing clearly, effective use of grammar and style. Sentence structure and word usage should be proper. Use numbers and statistics in an appropriate way. Write an effective abstract and conclusion. How to write the introduction. How to develop tables and figures. What are the common errors while preparing the manuscript? And why usually manuscripts are rejected? When you submit your research article to the journal, why those are rejected? If you do not follow these guidelines, if you do not take care of these things, definitely your manuscript will be rejected. And if you take care of all these things, your manuscript has a high chances of the acceptance, right? Now, we will see that in a detail, what the writing clearly means. So writing clearly means if you see, know, before start writing, you should know what you have done, what research you have conducted, what results you got, right? What things you want to present. You should sketch the research, whatever you want to say in your mind, and then you should start writing, right? So for that, know precisely what you want to convey. म्हणजे तुम्हाला माहिती असलं पाहिजे की तुम्हाला रीडरला काय सांगायचं आहे, राईट? तुम्हाला जर तुमच्या जर्नल मध्ये वाचणारे लोक असतील, है ना, रिसर्चर, अदर रिसर्चर आर गोइंग टू रीड युअर रिसर्च आर्टिकल, तर त्या रिसर्च म्हणजे त्या ऑथर रीडरना काय आपल्याला काय सांगायचं आहे, कुठला आपण या कोणता भाग महत्वाचा आहे आणि काय सांगायचं आहे हे आपल्याला अगोदर क्लिअर असलं पाहिजे, राईट? It should be clear to us that what precisely we want to convey to the reader, right? Or make, and then accordingly make an outline and ensure logical flow. म्हणजे मग काय करायचं, आपण आउटलाईन करायचं, म्हणजे आपल्याला काय काय सांगायचं आहे ते ठरवायचं, राईट? तर मग ते करण्यासाठी काय करायला लागेल, है ना, गाडी धुवायची आहे सपोज, आपल्याला गाडी कशी धुतात हे सांगायचं आहे, तर मग गाडी कशी धुतात याच्यासाठी आपल्याला काहीतरी अगोदर हे बनवलं पाहिजे ना, की बाबा अगोदर गाडी धुण्यासाठी पाणी लागेल, है ना, गाडी महत्वाची कशी धुवायची हे आपल्याला आधी सांगायचं आहे. दॅट इज इम्पॉर्टंट. त्याच्यासाठी काय काय लागतं हे आपण पाहिलं पाहिजे. एक्सक्यूज मी, जस्ट अ मिनिट. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so make an outline to ensure the logical flow. Each sentence should be, okay, so that outline should be there, what we are going to convey. दॅट आउटलाईन शुड बी देअर. आपण काय काय करणार आहोत त्याची आउटलाईन पाहिजे. अगोदर सामान गोळा करा आहे ना, फॉर एक्झाम्पल शॅम्पू, पाणी हे गोळा करा, एखादं फडकं गोळा करा, नंतर ते काय करा, प्रोसिजर काय, अगोदर पाण्याने धुवा, नंतर याने धुवा, अशी जी एक आउटलाईन असते आपली आहे ना, ती आउटलाईन तयार पाहिजे. शेवटी पुसून घ्या गाडी, असं जे काय असेल ते तयार पाहिजे आपल्या माइंडमध्ये. सिमिलरली आपल्याला जे काही आपलं रिसर्च आर्टिकल पब्लिश करायचं आहे त्याची आउटलाईन केली पाहिजे, की आपण काय ह्या रिसर्च आर्टिकल मध्ये काय काय रिझल्ट प्रेझेंट करणार आहेत, कोणता रिझल्ट अगोदर पाहिजे, कोणता नंतर पाहिजे, एकमेकावर डिपेंडंट कुठले रिझल्ट आहेत, मग जो महत्वाचा आहे तो अगोदर घेतला पाहिजे, त्याच्यावर डिपेंड असलेला पुढचा दुसरा त्याच्यानंतर आला पाहिजे, असा लॉजिकल फ्लो सुद्धा असला पाहिजे. राईट. सो दॅट यू शुड एन्श्युअर, त्याची खात्री केली पाहिजे की आपण जे काय मांडणार आहोत, मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट जी काय आपण तयार करतोय त्याच्यामध्ये लॉजिकल फ्लो असला पाहिजे है ना. जसं पिक्चर मध्ये, याच्यामध्ये स्टोरी सांगत असतात ना लोक, मग एका या पात्रावर पुढचं पात्र डिपेंड, त्याच्यावर त्याच्या पुढचं, त्याच्यावर त्याच्या पुढचं, असा एक लॉजिकल फ्लो असतो. तसा लॉजिकल फ्लो आपल्या रायटिंग मध्ये असला पाहिजे. Each sentence should be simple, short and present one idea. है ना. वाक्य कशी असली पाहिजेत, सोपी असली पाहिजेत, साधियापणे मांडली पाहिजेत आणि कमीत कमी आयडिया, एकाच वाक्यात मल्टिपल आयडिया प्रेझेंट नाहीत करायचा, एक दोन मुद्दा एका वाक्यातच टाकायचा, असं आपली वाक्य असली पाहिजे. जर जास्त टाकलं तर कन्फ्युजन वाढतं, कन्फ्युजन वाढलं तर रीडर, द पर्सन हु इज गोइंग टू रीड युअर रिसर्च आर्टिकल विल नॉट enjoy the reading, and if he don't enjoy, he may leave the reading the research article, and that will result in not conveying our thing to the reader, and then they will also not cite the research paper if it is not properly written. Right. So therefore it is important, simple vakya, choti vakya, आणि single present, single point or single idea in one sentence, that is required. Then be concise and avoid the long phrases. Long phrases usually should not be used. Okay. Avoid repetition. Same things saying again and again should be avoided. And once you prepare one draft of manuscript, do not immediately submit it to the journal. Wait for 1 or 2 days and again relook it into it. And then you will yourself will see that you have many corrections in the manuscript. And then edit it and do this repeatedly. Usually to write one research paper, after completing one complete draft of manuscript, usually we need to repeatedly see at least 3 to 4 times. We need to see this manuscript again and again, and we need to check it by taking the break. Then only it will be good to read by others, right? So that we need to do. हे आपण करावं लागतं. The next is what? Effective use of grammar and style. Use correct grammar and prefer the active voice, right? That is then recommended. Sentence structure and word uses. Write simple and direct sentences. Use specific and precise language and avoid unnecessary words. जे गरजेचे नाहीत ते शब्द वापरायचे नाहीत, unnecessary beautification करायचं नाही. हे usually that is there in a scientific language, because by in the म्हणजे ब्युटिफिकेशन करण्याच्या नादात आपण आपल्याला काय कन्वे करायचं आहे ते कदाचित लूज करू शकतो. तसं होऊ नये यासाठी सिंपल आणि साधे. आणि दुसरी गोष्ट अशी की सर्वच लोकांना अलंकारिक लँग्वेज समजते असं नाही है ना. बऱ्याच लोकांना साधी सिंपल लँग्वेज लवकर समजते, आणि त्या केसमध्ये आपल्याला आपला मोटो काय आहे की जो रीडर आहे, रीडरला आपण काय म्हणतो हे कळलं पाहिजे. जर ते कळायचं असेल तर ते कसं असलं पाहिजे, साधं आणि सिंपल असलं पाहिजे. इंग्लिश असेल तर इंग्लिश साधी आणि सोपी असली पाहिजे. मराठी असेल तरीही मराठी साधी आणि सर्वाला समजेल असे शब्द त्या मराठी लँग्वेज मध्ये असले पाहिजेत. हिंदी असो, मराठी असो, कोणतीही लँग्वेज असो. साधे आणि जास्तीत जास्त लोकांच्या वापरातले शब्द जेवढे असतील तेवढे जास्तीत जास्त आपण वापरले पाहिजेत. आणि फार रेअरली जे यूज होत नाहीत, अलंकारिक वर्ड रेअरली वापरावेत जे कमी यूज होतात. अदरवाइज पीपल विल स्टक देअर, है ना. आणि त्यामुळे तसे वापरू नये. Whenever possible, description should be quantitative rather than qualitative. है ना. जिथं जिथं आपल्याला बोलायचं आहे आकड्यामध्ये मांडलं तर जास्त इफेक्टिव्ह असतं. सपोज 10 पैकी 9 जणांना असं वाटतं की एखादी गोष्ट व्हायला पाहिजे, त्याच्याऐवजी आपण जर फक्त म्हटलं की बहुतेक जणांना असं वाटतं की ही गोष्ट झाली पाहिजे, तर बहुतेकचा अर्थ आपल्याला कळत नाही. बहुतेक म्हणजे 10 पैकी 4, 10 पैकी 7, 10 पैकी 5 की 10 पैकी 9, म्हणजे ह्या गोष्टी आपल्याला कळत नाही. किंवा काही जणांना असं वाटतं की आज पाऊस पडेल, तर काही म्हणजे किती, 10 पैकी 1ला वाटतं की 10 पैकी 9ला वाटतं की 10 पैकी 8ला. हे क्लिअर नसतं की 10 पैकी 4ला. त्यामुळं दॅट इज द युजली क्वालिटेटिव्ह बोलणं युजली टाळलं पाहिजे आणि क्वांटिटेटिव्ह थिंग्स शुड बी reflected in a manuscript. That is usually recommended. Then sentence structure or word uses, such type of sentences should be avoided. है ना. अशा प्रकारची वाक्य based on the fact that, है ना, असं आपण म्हणण्यापेक्षा आपण काय म्हणू शकतो, सिम्पली because should be papered. म्हणजे आपण असे लॉंग फ्रेज unnecessarily beautified आणि हे words should be avoided in the scientific literature, right, or writing the things, right, or the factच्या ऐवजी we should use the evidence, right, from it is evidence that, or longer time period. याचा अर्थच काय, longer means a time period, so it should be avoided. Such a phrases should be avoided. Decrease the number of quantity, अशा म्हणण्यापेक्षा fewer quantity म्हणता येतं. किंवा फॉर एक्झाम्पल ब्राऊन इन कलर, त्याच्याऐवजी ब्राऊन म्हणू शकतो. ब्राऊन कलर आहे सर्वांना माहित आहे, सो ब्राऊन इन कलर म्हणायची गरज नाही, है ना. किंवा मग हॅज ऑल्सो बीन शोन टू बी च्या ऐवजी इज वापरू शकतो. सो सिंपल अँड इझी प्रेफर्ड वर्ड शुड बी यूज. इट इज पॉसिबल दॅट च्या ऐवजी आपण मे वापरू शकतो. तर अशा प्रकारचे साधे आणि सिंपल वर्ड्स शक्यतो यूज करावेत, सो दॅट मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट इज मोर रीडेबल, राईट, so that it is more readable. There is, right, so these things we should take care of while writing the words. Now if you see the writing the numbers always one should prefer the Arabic numbers than the Roman numerals, because Arabic numbers are easier to understand, right. If you go on writing the Roman numbers, people usually don't know how to write 51, right. In the Roman numbers, most of the people know the meaning of I, V and X and how to write the Roman numbers in this form. So up to only 40 you can write numbers using the I, V and X. Beyond 40 we cannot write these numbers. Again, reading these Roman number is relatively difficult. So usually these numbers should be avoided in the most of the cases, and use the Arabic number like 1, 2, 3 and all. Those are Arabic numbers. Express large numbers, one must use the numbers. If it is very big number, one must use numbers and words together. If the numbers are very big, for example, the budget is 71.2 lakh. Then you should use the 71.2 and lakhs together, right? So that will give. Otherwise, if you keep on writing 71 lakh 2,000, right, 20,000, then we will have to write firstly how many zeros are there. Then you will see where there are this many zeros, so this number is 71 lakh. So you will understand the number. So that becomes that takes time, and that is not convenient to read, keeping so many zeros in front of that. Instead, you can write 71.2 lakhs or 12 million kilometers, right? Or 120 lakh kilometers, right? Or 1.2 crore kilometers. That can be easier instead of saying that 1, 2, 0, 12 million means 12 varti 6 shunya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, that many kilometers. So that is big number again. So that is not good way to write. Instead, if it is a large number, it should be expressed as a number together with the words. Avoid starting sentence with a large numbers. Sentence ची सुरुवातच मोठ्या नंबर ने करणं usually avoid केलं पाहिजे. In case sentence begins with a number, spell out the number. जर numbers वाक्याच्या सुरुवातीला येत असेल तर spell out, spelling लिहायचं 3, 2, whatever the spelling, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, that spelling should be written at the beginning of number. Put the space between numbers and units. If it is the unit and number, you should put the space between rupees and number. There should be space, right? Kilometer and number, 12 million. There should be space between that. So this space should be kept between the unit and this. Or for example, 100 ml. You should keep the space between this unit and number. Only the exception is what? When we express the number in percent, then only we don't use the space in between that. Otherwise, we keep the space. Then, त्याच्यानंतर काय significant figure use केले पाहिजे. Use the significant figures, right? So that significant figure should be used, right? So example, if you are expressing number in the 23 kilometer whole number, then plus or minus 6 is more significant. Instead of expressing 22.9 and 6 plus or minus 6.2, that is not much convenient. Although it may be the more accurate, but since this number is bigger, we can express in this significant number or this significant, right? If the accuracy is more, then we can express it into that significant figure, depending on the accuracy. But accuracy is less, so we can have this significant figure will be better instead of this one. But if this accuracy is more, right, then, or this deviation is less, then we can, is of the order of 0.2, then we can use this significant. So we should appropriately use the numbers in the particular manuscript, right? Then titles, very important thing in the research articles. Titles. People keep on writing titles 3, 4, 5 lines sometimes. So that is not very good. The title should be short and at most it should cover 2 lines. तो 2 लाईन किंवा त्याच्यापेक्षा लहान शॉर्ट टायटल असावी. आणि महत्वाचं म्हणजे that title should be in line with the study. It should match the article and it should not inadequately describe the study, right? So the title not matching the research article and the study performed in this are the most common errors. Include the abbreviations in the and slang words in the title. That is again the not good for the usually not good in a title. So what things you should remember in the title, whatever the title you are using, that should be mostly, it should be short, it should be matching perfectly with your study, and it should focus or highlight what you have done in your article, right? So that thing you have to precisely keep in a short words, right? So, and again, your title should be catchy, attractive, right? Catchy and attractive, right? Or attractive. Okay, so that will what? That will drag the attention of the reader toward the research article. जसं की न्यूज आर्टिकल असतात ना, न्यूज मध्ये कसं न्यूजचे टायटल कसे असतात, एकदम अट्रॅक्टिव्ह टायटल असतील तरच आपण न्यूज वाचतो ना. सिमिलरली जर अट्रॅक्टिव्ह न्यूज असेल, अट्रॅक्टिव्ह टायटल वाटलं जर आपण नंतर काय करतो, नेक्स्ट थिंग वी रीड. आजकाल पेपर न्यूज पेपर मध्ये येतं आहे ना, एक छोटा टायटल आहे, वाचल्यानंतर छोट्या रकान्यात एक थोडीशी माहिती दिलेली असते, ती आपण वाचतो. दॅट इज द abstract ऑफ दॅट पर्टिक्युलर न्यूज. We read the abstract and then we read complete news. Similarly, for the research article also, we need to have a proper abstract, and there are certain common errors we do in the abstract. Abstract मध्ये आपण काय करतो की most of the time some people result, method and conclusions are different from the reported result in the research method and conclusions in the manuscript. म्हणजे रिसर्च मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट मध्ये आपण जे रिझल्ट अँड मेथड वापरली आणि कन्क्लुजन ड्रॉ केलंय, दॅट डझंट मॅच विथ द ॲब्स्ट्रॅक्ट, असं बऱ्याचदा होत असतं. सो दॅट शुड नॉट हॅपन. असं जातं होता कामा नाहीये, है ना. म्हणजे आपण जो काही ॲब्स्ट्रॅक्ट लिहितोय रिसर्च आर्टिकलचा, जो काही सारांश लिहितोय, तो मॅच झाला पाहिजे की आपण जे काय त्या मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट मध्ये पेपर मध्ये बोलतोय त्याच्याशी मॅच झालं पाहिजे, राईट. सो दॅट शुड बी मॅचिंग. आणि काय, डू नॉट फॉलो सम आर्टिकल्स. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, there are different article types. For article means research paper types. They may be the articles, review, right, letters. So these are the typically article types published in a journals, or perspective. These are the article types, right? So for the article, simple article, you have a different page limit, right? For example, depending on the journal to journal, mostly it is limited 8 to 10 or 8 to 15 pages article. If it is review should be at the max 50 pages or less than 50 pages. Later, it should be less than 3 pages, right? So such a limitations are there. Similarly, how many number of words should present in this article, that is also a policy of journal, right? So some journal restrict the abstract to the maybe 150 words, right? For example, in letters. In articles, sometimes the abstract is mostly restricted to the 300 words. So we should stick this limit. We should draw and write our abstract in that many number of words only. So this limit set by the journal should be followed. And again, the incorrectly formatted for the journal. म्हणजे जर्नलचा जो फॉर्मॅट आहे, त्या फॉर्मॅट मध्येच आपण जर आपला अब्स्ट्रॅक्ट केला तर तो योग्य असतो. इनकरेक्टली आपण करू नये. सो इनकरेक्टली फॉर्मॅटिंग करणं हे सुद्धा एक त्याचं एरर असतं. म्हणजे टायटल कसं असावं, त्याची फॉन्ट काय असावी, अब्स्ट्रॅक्ट कसा असावं, त्याची फॉन्ट साईज काय असली पाहिजे, त्याला कोणता फॉन्ट वापरली पाहिजे, राईट, हे दिलेलं असतं. टायटल, रिझल्ट अँड डिस्कशन कसं असावं, त्याची फॉन्ट साईज किती असली पाहिजे, त्याची कोणती स्क्रिप्ट, फॉन्ट टाईप कुठला असला पाहिजे, हे दिलेलं असतं. ते आपण फॉलो केलं पाहिजे जर्नल आणि मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट प्रिपेअर करतात, राईट. Okay, now the next is a common error in the introduction. So introduction मध्ये काय असतंय, बऱ्याचदा log the description of the purpose and objective of study. इंट्रोडक्शन मध्ये सुरुवातीला थोडं मोटिवेशन हे आणि आपला का, why we done the work, that should come there, and what you are going to solve by doing this research, that should come into the introduction. So त्या related गोष्टी ह्या introduction आल्या पाहिजे, right? Purpose and objective should be there should be described in the introduction. If it lacks these things, that is not good, and that is the common error. Another error is what it does not mention the importance of and originality of the study. है ना, काय त्या स्टडीचं महत्व आहे आणि वेदर किती हे स्टडी ओरिजिनल आहे याच्याबद्दल काहीच बोललेलं नसतं किंवा कम्पेअर केलेलं नसतं आधीच्या वर्कशी, अदर वर्कशी, है ना. That is not good. You should compare your study with the other study. You should say that how your work is different from the other things and what value your work is putting in the knowledge that you should add. है ना, तुम्ही तुमचं काम नवीन पेपर हा व्हॅल्यू तुमच्या नॉलेज मध्ये किती व्हॅल्यू ऍड करतोय हे आपण दिलं पाहिजे किंवा हे वर्क किती ओरिजिनल आहे आपण त्या इंट्रोडक्शन मध्ये सांगितलं पाहिजे. Again, material is unrelated to the study and not interesting. असं सुद्धा इंट्रोडक्शन मध्ये बऱ्याचदा मटेरियल दिले जातं. कारण का तर इंट्रोडक्शन 3-4 पेज करायला सांगितलंय गाईडनं, म्हणून उगाच 3-4 पेज काही लिहून आणून त्यांच्या पुढे टाकायचं, असं करणं बऱ्याचदा होतं. That should not happen, right? You should read the material, follow the material which is interested and related to the study only, and then you should write the introduction, right? So that should be done. Matter present of other section and other manuscript. म्हणजे फॉर एक्झाम्पल मेथोडॉलॉजी मधले मॅटर इकडे देणं, हे इकडे देणं, असंच बऱ्याचदा केलेलं असतं. हॅलो, ओके. सो अदर सेक्शन मधला पार्ट जर इकडे आला तर ते बरं नसतं. Then third thing is the methods, right? Which methods we have followed. बऱ्याचदा काय होतं, मेथड रिपोर्ट केलेली असते मेथड सेक्शन मध्ये, पण पेपर मध्ये कुठंच यूज केलेली नसते. असं मेथड असा एरर आपण करू, अशी चूक करता कामा नये. समटाइम काय असतं की आपण एखादी मेथड यूज करतो, पण ती मेथड म्हणजे रिझल्ट काढायसाठी यूज करतो, पण त्या मेथड सेक्शन मध्ये ती दिलेली नसते. दॅट इज ऑल्सो नॉट गुड. Sometimes we describe the methods are not related to the result. That is also an major errors or the common error. So that should not be done. Then we have the common errors in a result. And common errors in result are what? We provide the incomplete data. अपूर्ण डाटा आपण रिझल्ट मध्ये देत असतो. दॅट इज नॉट गुड. रिझल्ट फ्रॉम अनादर स्टडी, दुसऱ्या कोणत्या पेपर मध्ये पब्लिश केलेले रिझल्ट आपल्या पेपर मध्ये आपण टाकून देत असतो. दॅट इज ऑल्सो नॉट गुड. द टेबल्स अँड फिगर प्रेझेंट सेम इन्फॉर्मेशन, म्हणजे जे तुम्ही टेबल मध्ये म्हणताय ते एक्झॅक्टली सिमिलर इन्फॉर्मेशन जर तुम्हाला फिगर मध्येही दिसत असेल तर दॅट इज नॉट गुड. आहे ना, साधा टेबल आहे, जर त्या टेबल मध्ये तुम्हाला लिनियर रिलेशनशिप एखादीची दिसते आणि तेच फिगर मध्ये दिसते, तेच तुम्ही थिंग्स यू शुड नॉट, इट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड टू गिव्ह इन द टेबल. दिस डाटा इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड because you are easily seeing this here. If there are some additional things, then only you can put it into the table, or you should, additional information is there, then you can put it into table. But same information in the table and figure is not required. It is just a repetition and it consumes the extra space in the work, so it is not recommended, right? And रिझल्ट मध्ये काय असतं, रिझल्ट अँड डिस्कशन्स मध्ये काय आपण करतो, रिझल्ट समटाइम्स वी include in a discussion or methodology section. That is also not expected. That should not be done. What are the common errors in the discussion? Now, some people write result and discussion together. Some journals, some people write result differently and discussion different. Discussion मध्ये काय mainly error असतात की discussion is biased and does not explain key result. म्हणजे discussion is biased म्हणजे काय, आपण आपल्या डिस्कशनचा कोण्या तरी एका बाजूला कल दिसतो आपला डिस्कशनचा. दॅट इज नॉट गुड. दॅट शुड बी अनबायस्ड डिस्कशन, आहे ना. ते डिस्कशन आपण जे काय करणार आहे ते मनात पहिल्यापासून प्रिजुडाइज माइंड ठेवून किंवा बायस डिस्कशन असू नये. जे काय आपल्याला रिझल्ट वरून दिसतंय, याच्यावरून दिसतंय, त्याच्यावर आधारित डिस्कशन असलं पाहिजे. Right, nowadays you must be seeing lot of news, biased news, and biased discussions. You must be seeing, some of you must be seeing the debates over the TVs. Most of the debates are biased nowadays. I will not go into the much detail of that. They truly doesn't provide the true information. Those are biased, right? And therefore people say that media is okay. I will not go into that detail. But okay, such a type of mistake should not happen by the from the researcher, है ना. रिसर्चर कडून अशा प्रकारच्या मिस्टेक होता कामा नये. क्लिअर आणि गुड डाटा हा प्रेझेंट झाला पाहिजे. ओमिट द फाइंडिंग फ्रॉम द रिझल्ट अँड स्टडी. डिस्कशन मध्ये मेन फाइंडिंग जे स्टडी मध्ये आणि रिझल्ट मध्ये दिसलंय ते आपण डिस्कस केलेलं नसतं, असं होऊ नये. Does not describe the limitation of study. If there are certain limitation, drawbacks of the study, or if you have followed some method which has certain limitations, that you should put, है ना, की बाबा या मेथडची अॅक्युरेसी एवढी आहे, तर तुम्ही फॉलो केलेल्या मेथडची अॅक्युरेसी किती आहे, काय आहे, हे त्यात एक्सप्लेन असलं पाहिजे, राईट. जर त्याच्या काय ड्रॉबॅक्स असतील ते मेन्शन असले पाहिजे. दॅट शुड बी देअर. One of the major error is we are comparing our result with outdated references. So our mispresentation, or references, whatever the references, those are mispresented. That is also not good. And mostly the discussion, if you write too long and lack of a logical flow, खूप मोठी डिस्कशन आणि त्यात लॉजिकल फ्लो नसतो, है ना, काही एकाचा दुसऱ्याशी संबंध नसेल असं जर लिहित गेला तर दॅट इज नॉट गुड. तर ह्या कॉमन काही एरर्स आहेत जे युजली ऑब्झर्व होतात त्याच्यामध्ये. आणि फायनली कन्क्लुजन मध्ये काय एरर होतात, तर कन्क्लुजन मध्ये कंटेंट स्टेटमेंट्स नॉट सपोर्टेड बाय स्टडी, है ना. जे आपण रिझल्ट मध्ये स्टडी मध्ये जे दिसलं नाही ते आपण कन्क्लुजन मध्ये लिहिणं चुकीचं आहे. वी हॅव एक्झॅक्टली सेम सेक्शन कंटेंट, है ना, जे काय तुम्ही फॉर एक्झाम्पल मेथॉडॉलॉजी मध्ये लिहिलंय किंवा रिझल्ट मध्ये लिहिलंय, एक्झॅक्टली जशीच्या तसं कन्क्लुजन मध्ये कॉपी पेस्ट करणं, राईट, किंवा रिपीट करणं, दॅट इज नॉट डिझायर्ड. सो दॅट इज वन मोर एरर वी कॅन हॅव. बऱ्याचदा काय असतं, कन्क्लुजन इज नॉट क्लिअर, राईट, अँड रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन फाइंडिंग अँड ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह इज नॉट कमिंग इन द कन्क्लुजन, राईट. म्हणजे आपण इंट्रोडक्शन मध्ये एक ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह म्हणतो, राईट, स्टडीचा ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह एक आहे म्हणतो, रिझल्ट अँड डिस्कशन मध्ये दुसरंच काहीतरी दिसतं आणि कन्क्लुजन मध्ये आपण ते मांडत नाही. त्या केसमध्ये इट इज नॉट डिझायर्ड, दॅट इज नॉट गुड. So whatever the conclusion, that conclusion should match with our objective and findings, and there should be relationship between the objectives and finding, and we put unnecessary and extra information in the conclusion, that is also not expected, right. जे काय गरजेचं नाहीत अशा unnecessary गोष्टी टाकून ते पेपर मोठा करणं, that is also not good, right. So if you ask me, I will recommend you to write as short paper as possible, provided it should convey all the information you can convey to others. कारण काय असतं की कमी लेख असला तर लोक जास्त वाचतात, है ना. तुम्ही आजकाल व्हॉट्सअपच्या फॉरवर्डेड मेसेजेस बघत असाल, जर शॉर्ट मेसेज असेल तर आपण लगेच वाचतो, जरासा मोठा असेल तर आपण थोडस अवॉइड करतो, आणि खूप बिग मेसेज असेल तर मोस्टली व्हॉट वी डू, वी डोंट रीड इट, राईट. तसंच आपल्या पेपरच्या बाबतीतही होतं, जर खूप मोठी मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट असेल तर बऱ्याचदा काय होतं, पीपल डोंट रीड इट. सो शॉर्ट बट स्वीट जे आपण म्हणतो आहे ना, प्रिसाइज अँड क्रिस्प आहे ना, असं जर रिझल्ट अँड डिस्कशन आणि हे असेल तर ते ऑलवेज चांगलं असतं आहे ना. कमी शब्दात आणि मोजक्या शब्दात आणि चांगली मांडणी ही नेहमी केली पाहिजे मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट मध्ये. सो दीज आर द टिपिकल थिंग्स वी शुड टेक केअर while writing the manuscript. Similarly, there are some reason why it is rejected. Again, reason I say, as I said, जर अगोदरच्या गोष्टी फॉलो नाहीत केल्या तर मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट काय होणार, रिजेक्ट होणार किंवा त्या पेपर मध्ये पब्लिश होणार नाही. रिव्ह्यूअर अँड एडिटर विल रिजेक्ट द मॅन्युस्क्रिप्ट. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स. I think sir will provide you this particular PPT, so I will not go into the main much detail, but if you don't follow the earlier things I explained, your manuscript will be rejected. Again, you can, there are certain guidelines to present the poster and all, but due to the lack of time I will stop here, and if you have any quick questions please feel free. I will just show you a few do you see this web page? I will show you few papers which are retracted, right? What happens if you do some plagiarism and all. So this is the one paper I see withdrawn, right? Synergic effect of curcumin and beta cyclohexidine on this. Why it is a withdrawn? So article has been withdrawn at the request of authors and editor. The publisher apologizes for inconvenience. Why this article is withdrawn? म्हणजे ते article आपण withdraw करू शकतो. म्हणजे ते author will decide what to do. And sometime article is retracted. है ना, हे article retract झाले. Why it is retracted? जे article retract झाले तिथं अशा प्रकारच्या हे येतील है ना, रिट्रॅक्टेड म्हणजे त्या यांनी हे आर्टिकल ह्याच्यात काहीतरी बॅड काहीतरी केलेलं आहे त्यामुळे किंवा कॉपी केलेला आहे, प्लॅगरिझम केलेला आहे त्यामुळे रिट्रॅक्ट केलेला आहे. सो व्हॉट इज रिट्रॅक्टेड, व्हॉट इज डिफरन्सेस? फिगर 3rd हिअर इज सेम है ना, ह्या 1A आणि 1C सेम आहे म्हणजे तुम्ही काहीतरी चुकीचं आणि कॉपी पेस्ट केलेलं आहे है ना, हे ह्याच्यावरून क्लिअर होत आहे. तर ती इन्फॉर्मेशन सुद्धा म्हणजे अशा प्रकारे आर्टिकल रिट्रॅक्ट सुद्धा होऊ शकतात जर आपण हे केलं तर. आणि ते दॅट विल रिमेन ऑनलाईन फॉर एव्हर दॅट युअर आर्टिकल सो अँड सो ऑथर्स आर्टिकल इज रिट्रॅक्टेड. सो देअरफॉर you should never report the wrong result, copy paste the result, copy the other people's result. That is should not be done ever, because if you are caught, forever it will stay online, lifetime. आपण आपले 4 पिढ्या ते सुद्धा बघू शकतील की काय काय आपण कॉपी केलं तर पेस्ट केलं तर, कळलं का? त्यासाठी usually we should not do this. Okay, so I will stop here with my presentation and I will stop sharing the screen. If you have questions, please let me know.
Okay, thank you, sir. Slochana Malave. Yes, any question? Unmute your side. Ask
Yes,
question.
sir. Sir, I have a question. आपण प्लेगियरिझम बद्दल बोललो पण खूप शॉर्ट मध्ये सांगितलं सर. आणि आपण प्लेगियरिझम जर आपल्याकडून झाला असेल तर ते किती % झाला आणि ते कसं चेक करावं सर?
अच्छा, तर प्लॅगियरिझम
त्या संदर्भात एक सेपरेट सेशन होणार आहे प्लॅगियरिझम संदर्भात. येस,
ओके ओके सर, ओके सर.
ओके.
आता जो पीपीटी संदर्भात या संदर्भात जर काही प्रश्न असेल तर विचारू शकता तुम्ही.
ओके, नेक्स्ट.
यस, चव्हाण उदयराजे, अनम्यूट युअर साइड.
हाँ यस सर. हाय सर.
हाँ,
हेलो सर.
हाँ बोला
विचारा प्रश्न.
Sir, my question is regarding research paper, sir.
हाँ
Sir, how to prepare a good research quality paper and how to publish a paper in a good research journal by using
Okay.
UGC care list. So, what is the
So-
criteria of the research paper?
Okay, so for preparing good research paper, now again it depends. तुम्ही कोणत्या डिसिप्लिन मधून आहात, विषय कोणता आहे?
Sir, economics.
इकॉनॉमिक्स, राईट. व्हेरी गुड. आता गुड रिसर्च पेपर जर बनवायचा असेल तर काय असतं की आपण रिसर्च कुठल्या एरियात केला पाहिजे, की जो महत्वाचा रिसर्च आहे सोशल, म्हणजे आता तुमचं इकॉनॉमिक्स आहे तर इकॉनॉमिक्स मध्ये कोणती गोष्ट सध्या महत्वाची आहे, जे लेटेस्ट ट्रेडिंग काय गोष्ट आहे किंवा जी सर्वांच्या निकडीची किंवा सर्वांना गरजेची अशी कोणती गोष्ट आहे, त्या गोष्टीवरती किंवा त्या टॉपिकवरती रिसर्च करणं हे सर्वात महत्वाची गोष्ट. पहिली गोष्ट काय की आपण जो रिसर्च करणार आहे तो रिसर्च किंवा तो टॉपिक असा असावा की तो लेटेस्ट असला पाहिजे आणि सध्या लोकांच्या ह्याचा असला पाहिजे, राईट. त्याच्यानुसार आपण काय करणार की आपला रिसर्च प्रॉब्लेम निवडणार आणि रिसर्च प्रॉब्लेम निवडल्यानंतर आता तुमच्या केसमध्ये तुम्ही कसं हायपोथेसिस केलंय, काय केलंय, नंतर त्याला बरोबर प्रूफ दिलेत का, सॅम्पलिंग साईज करेक्ट आहे का, किंवा एखादं तुम्ही हे केलेलं हायपोथेसिस ते राईट आहे का, म्हणजे ते प्रॉपरली व्हेरीफाय केलंय का, प्रॉपर स्टॅटिस्टिकल अनालिसिस केलंय का, हे सर्व गोष्टी कराव्या लागतील तुम्हाला आणि ती तुमची मेथॉडॉलॉजी चांगली असली पाहिजे, राईट. म्हणजे कोणताही रिसर्च पेपर करताना काय पहिली गोष्ट काय पाहिजे की ते जो तुमचा टॉपिक असला पाहिजे तो महत्वाचा असला पाहिजे. टॉपिक नंतर तुम्ही मेथॉडॉलॉजी चांगली वापरली पाहिजे आणि फुल प्रूफ मेथॉडॉलॉजी असली पाहिजे, सॅम्पलिंग प्रॉपर असलं पाहिजे, हे प्रॉपर असलं पाहिजे. त्याच्याच बरोबर मग तुमचे रिझल्ट जे आले ते रिझल्ट तुमच्या ह्यानं सपोर्टिंग असले पाहिजे. तुमच्या स्टॅटिस्टिकल डाटा, तुमचा अनालिसिस रिझल्ट हे